Andrew, one of the markets that I'm watching very closely nationally is Adelaide.
Yep.
It is slightly lagged during this boom. We all know that Western Australia has its economic problems.
Yep.
South Australia has had its problems. What's your view on Adelaide? Because I'm
Well,
starting to see some numbers that look attractive. I feel like there's a bit of a move, or is it too early?
well, look, Adelaide, Peter, is a remarkable market. We know the problems that Perth and Western Australia have in terms of its shakeout in its resource economy. But look, South Australia, the Adelaide economy, has been a clear underperformer really for years.
Yeah.
It hasn't come and gone. It's just sort of gone and stayed gone. And despite that, it's a remarkably resilient housing market. In fact, we had 5% growth in Adelaide last year, 4% the previous year, and I think Adelaide will grow by another 4%. This year. And I think that even though they don't match the remarkable double-figure results Sydney and Melbourne are getting, they're very, very consistent. You've got to remember that the Adelaide median is, half that of the Sydney median. And it is the most affordable capital city market. And you can get properties, between, just over $500,000 that are well within 10 k's of the CBD.
It's a very pleasant place to live.
And yields are quite high too.
Yeah.
So it has that livability and affordability advantage.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the yields. I mean, the average yield on an apartment in Adelaide is just over 5%, and in Sydney it's 4.1%, or not even 4.1%. So there's a full 1 percentage point difference. You have the affordability factor. I'm having a look at the vacancy rates. They are quite low. They're actually better than Sydney, right?
Yeah. Look, there is certainly a shortage of rental accommodation in Adelaide, and I do a number of presentations in the Adelaide market time to time, and I'm always a little perplexed why there's not more local investor activity in that Adelaide market. But I just think it tends to fly under the radar for one reason or another. But a very resilient housing market, considering its unemployment rate just struggle, is always over 7%, and that's certainly the highest of all the mainland capital cities and states. And as I said, I think that the Adelaide housing market tends to take these things in its stride. It's a very conservative market, and it keeps on keeping on. And I think it's a very good proposition for those investors who are looking for a medium to longer term view, and something that has a much lower entry point than some of the other major capitals.
Maybe some of that buyer snobbery is fading away too, because for years people have absolutely, from the eastern seaboard, Sydney, Melbourne, slammed Adelaide. I grew up not far from Adelaide, and I mean, I had the privilege of getting to know it really well, and I think a lot of it's just people not being comfortable with it because they don't know it.
Well, that's right. It is a bit of an unknown quantity, the Adelaide market. But as I said, I'm always not amazed, but it's always a very positive element to housing market dynamic, that the confidence aspect of buying and selling decisions doesn't impact that Adelaide market as it does other markets as they sort of wax and wane through their economic cycles. They just sort of keep on keeping on, Adelaide buyers and sellers, and even the northern part of Adelaide, the Elizabeth area, which is the most affordable, I guess, established suburban region in the country, is now starting to show some sort of early signs of picking up. But it's had a lot of problems with its economy, losing the car industry there, higher levels of unemployment. But, you can get yields in Elizabeth of nearly 8% now, and, with those low vacancy rates, it certainly appeals as far as a good investment opportunity.
That's where Jimmy Barnes got his start,
Yeah, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
I don't know. I don't reckon it returned 8%.
So that says it all.
Yeah.
Andrew, just to wrap up, last question before we leave you. In terms of what's coming up this weekend, do we expect more stock coming on the market?
Well, we do. We have nearly 800 auctions, Peter, this weekend. So that's a bit of a relief for buyers. We've just over 600 this weekend. So we're going to have 800 and then another 800 the following weekend. But so that's good news in terms of more choice for buyers. And but it's still well down on a year ago when we had over 1,000 auctions the same weekend. Last weekend, that's next weekend. So even though it's a lot better in terms of what will be on offer, it's still a lot lower than where we've been certainly over the past year.
Chief Economist for the Domain Group, Andrew Wilson, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
My pleasure, guys. Thank you so much.